Hello everyone, I am Miss Bullock, and over the past 4 weeks we learned many concepts that pertain to learning how to learn. Today I'm going to review the most memorable and helpful concepts that I applied to my life, which have helped me become very successful academically, professionally, and even in my domestic affairs. I will discuss both the focused and diffused modes of thinking, procrastination and an effective way to tackle it, as well as harnessing habits to improve memory and efficiency while learning. During the first week, we learned about the focused and diffused modes of thinking. The focus mode has tight spacing and is concentrated, and what we store here tends to be familiar to us. It occurs in the prefrontal cortex, which is where our social behavior, the ability to make decisions and plan occur. It is also connected to deliberate practice and allows our brain to get more in depth with what we are learning. The strength here is having the ability to analyze and solve problems in a sequential manner using a direct approach. And getting enough sleep and exercising are two practices that can help improve your focused mode of thinking and productivity. The diffused mode has a broad range ways of thinking and helps us to solve problems or figure out something new. It takes time for neural processes to take place, so it's important to allow resting phases when using this mode of thinking. It occurs when the mind relaxes, which allows us space for things to process. We learned that taking walks and honoring breaks during our learning sessions can help us gain new insight to problems that occur and help us see the big picture more clearly. One thing that totally distracts us from the big picture is procrastination, and that's thinking about the product instead of the process. We experience unhappy feelings associated to something or to an objective, and that can cause us to funnel our attention into something that may temporarily give us feelings of happiness, but in the long run, it lessens our ability to use our modes of thinking optimally. And this can create really unhealthy habits that can impact our future. This sounds familiar to addiction, doesn't it? And that's because it is. Procrastination is associated with addiction, and the only way we can release ourselves from such a delay in progress is to adapt healthier habits. One technique shared in the course was the Pomodoro technique, which involves identifying a goal that you want to achieve and setting a timer for 25 minutes and working undistracted in a quiet environment until the timer goes off. And then you take a 5-minute break and reward yourself with something small. And then you resume whatever you're doing for another 25-minute stretch of focused attention on the task at hand. I have found that being in the flow of what you're doing rather than focusing on the outcome can drastically increase productivity. And the end result can be very burdensome, especially if the goal or objective is very lengthy in detail. This is why it's important to learn new ways to reframe how you feel and what you think about the things you must achieve. And this is where harnessing habits come in. Habits save energy and reshape our beliefs about things so that we can change our reactions and arrive at better results. Habits involve a cue, which is the time, the feelings, or the reactions associated with a particular object or routine, which is how we tend to divert our attention or focus actively. And then a reward to reinforce the newly learned behavior, which will change the belief associated with the initial cue. We must remember that our ability to achieve the goals we desire and lead the lives we want solely depend on our ability to adapt through our modes of thinking, being accountable and responsible for taking the steps we need in an effective way, and sustaining habits that actually support us each step along the way. Before closing this brief review, I want you to be reminded of how important sleep is for all of the processes I just mentioned. When we sleep, we allow our brains to clean itself. The system that removes unnecessary waste is called the glymphatic system, which consists of a series of tubes that actually carry cerebral spinal fluid into the brain and mixes with the waste-filled fluid to flush out the toxic mix into the blood. When you don't sleep, Think of all the space that is being taken up by this waste, which impacts our ability to think in both focused and diffuse mode. It increases our chances of procrastination and lessens our ability to be productive. Exercise, get some sleep, and maintain a healthy diet. I hope you found my review helpful. Stay healthy and happy learning.